A few years ago, I was a med student at the University of the West Indies, and by my third year, I had to drop out because of financial struggles. At the time, it felt like one of my biggest failures, but I did not give up. I switched gears and I studied my second passion in marketing, and I graduated Summa Cum Laude and the top of my class, and I did this in 3 years instead of 5 as a part-time student working a full-time job. Since the new academic year is starting, I thought it would be a perfect time to share how I managed to accomplish that. Hopefully, some of the things I learned and practiced can help you to step into the new school year. Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, I'm Keelia Olivia, and on this channel, I share vlogs around personal growth and development, business and lifestyle, everything about pursuing goals and building my businesses. If this sounds like content that you'd enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share because I post every Sunday. So today I'm sharing the exact things I did during my university journey that helped me to graduate at this level. These are practical tips that I think that anybody, whether you're in high school, college, or university, can use. Before we touch into academics, I want to start some general admin tips that can save you the stress throughout university and after. These are things that people don't really tell you, but I feel like they're quite important. So one is to keep all your receipts, every single receipt. Now, if you make any tuition payment, miscellaneous payments, any payments that you make to the university, keep your receipts. Those are the only proof that you have to protect yourself. And when you finish your degree, they'll say you did not pay something. So have your receipts. Whether you keep it in a spreadsheet or scan them, keep your receipts. As we're on the topic of receipts, keep your exam receipts and your exam permits. Again, the only proof that you have that you are in attendance at this exam. They can lose your script and they can tell you that you did not attend the exam. So once you have that sign to say that yes, you are at the exam, that is your proof. So you need to keep those receipts safe. Now, the third step is to follow your curriculum map or a course map or something. This is basically a document that would show you all the courses that you need to complete. And this is what that looks like. So basically outlines all the courses that you need to do for your first year, and it shows you first semester, second semester, and in my case third semester because I was a part-time student. So it shows you all the courses that you need to be completing in that particular time frame. You want to ensure that you follow this map closely so that you don't take any courses that you're not supposed to, and you can follow your prerequisites closely. And as we talk about prerequisites, we want to get into the next tip, which is to ensure that you do your prerequisites first. You want to ensure that you can do the courses that require these prerequisites in the time frame that should be done. So once you follow the map closely, you should be able to complete your prerequisites in time so that you don't have any hiccups or pauses along your university journey. The next tip in admin is to stay on top of your deadlines. So whether tuition payment, exam registration, add and drop deadlines, ensure you put these in your calendar. You want to keep a calendar, and I'll get into that tip later on. You want to ensure that you keep a calendar with all your deadlines and dates. The next category of tips that I want to share would be academic success. One of the biggest key to graduating top of my class being consistent with the way you approach academics. So here's exactly what worked for me. Going to all my classes consistently. So in lectures, tutorials, labs, whichever one of these classes that you go to, you want to ensure that you participate because some universities give participation grade, as well as some lecturers will drop hints or give exam tips or any questions that may come in the exam. So you don't want to miss out on any of those classes. And I feel like going to classes also helps you to not have to study so hard or try to get the concept on your own because you'd have learned it in class. So it's a matter of just reviewing the material afterwards. Also in class, you get to ask questions, you get to gain clarity. Some lecturers do that, so it's helpful to go to classes. The next tip is to take smart notes. Again, I'll show you an example. So on my iPad, I use it in the latter part of school. I signed up for GoodNotes or downloaded GoodNotes, and this is one of my courses notes. So I basically created a notebook, and then I would have taken notes on the notebook like this. So I'd write notes before class, and then I'd have in-class notes at the top, so you can see where it says in-class notes there, and the topic is at the top. So these are notes, and I separated the page into, you can decide how you want to take notes, and with GoodNotes it has a lot of note-taking options. I just basically did my notes like this. So it was easy to revise. I did it in bullet points, color coded. Yeah, so when you're taking notes, you have to try to make it shorthand. You don't want to write word for word. Write how you understand it in the class, and try to define your terms before you go to class if that's possible, so you have an idea of what the lecturer is talking about. The next tip in academics would be past papers and mock exam. And these are available at most universities' library. You can go in and get exam past papers from your predecessors. You can get lecture notes or study materials that will be helpful in your exams. So try to utilize the university resources in the library. I know some of them are quite outdated, but try to utilize the resources that are provided at the libraries. The next tip would be to plan assignments. Break them down into small tasks, whether you have to research, do a draft, edit, all those things. Ensure that you plan out all your assignments. You want to either time block them so that you meet your deadlines. And as I said before, you want to keep a calendar with all your deadlines so you can reverse engineer your assignments, projects, group works, all those things, because it's a lot to keep. Now, you might be listening to all this and saying, how do you actually balance all these things? Classes, deadlines, clubs, scholarships, life without, pulling out your hair, literally? Well, for me, it came down to staying organized. And I designed the Planner Studio Academic Planner for 2025-2026 school year, because it was exactly the kind of system that I wish I had when I was attending university. It helps you to keep track of deadlines, plan your study session, keep track of your course information, all your group assignments, your individual assignments. It incorporates a lot of budgeting and goal setting in there as well. I'll leave the link to the planner that I created below. However, you don't have to use my planner, but just get a system that can help you to keep track of it. If you're going to use Apple or Google Calendar, if you're going to use a Google spreadsheet, something, a diary or a journal with rule pages or an assignment book, just have something that can work for you to keep track of these deadlines. As I mentioned, group work. Group work. I hate group work. I'm a type A person, and I like things to be done a particular way. I always want to try to be the group lead because I don't want anybody to lead me astray. And these people will lead you astray. They will come out and tell us, say, yeah, I can do this, I can do that, I can. And on the day when it do, they don't do nothing. I don't like group work. I know enough people don't like group work, but me, yet I hate a group work. But anyway, as it relates to my tips on group work, you have to be strategic. If you have the option to choose your group members, do it at all costs. And if you don't have the choice, this is what I would give you as a tip to do. As the group lead or as a member of the group, you want to try to give deadlines before the actual deadline of the work. So try to give little deadlines and have group meetings. And the reason for having these deadlines is to ensure that the project is done or the work is done before. So you don't have any excuses from anybody, because people are going to say, oh, them have work, them have life, them have this. You don't have life too. So you want to ensure that the work is done on time. So you need to give them deadlines so that things can be done in an orderly manner and be strategic with how it is done. For me, if we give the deadlines and you don't meet them, I'll just do the work myself and you're going to get a big fat 0. Simple. Me not play with nobody when it comes on to group work. And this was one of my pain points going to university. I cried a lot my ball, fake group work. My next tip on the academics is to use office hours. Now, these professors are literally paid to help you. They're sitting in their office and they have this time for you to get extra guidance, ask your questions, to get tips on exams, to see where you are in class, if you're on the right track. Just utilize the office hours. The next category of tips that I want to share would be scholarships and financial tips. And take it from me as somebody who drops out of med school because of this very reason. Here's what I would do differently is to start applying early. A lot of the scholarships close months before the start of the new school year, and some of them come in throughout the school year. So you want to ensure that you stay proactive when you search for these scholarships. So like even I think Grace Scholarship, the application deadline is in March for the new school year. So you want to ensure you look out for these scholarships because they come throughout the year and you don't want to miss it. So start early looking for scholarships. The next tip that I want to share is to tailor your essays. If the scholarship asks you to write an essay, you want to tailor it to a particular organization or individual who is offering the scholarship. I list out a few scholarships that I know, and if you know any others, you can share these scholarships in the comments because it can help somebody. So you have JTEC, which is Jamaica Tertiary Education Commission. They have a lot of scholarships. So you can just go on their website. Ministry of Finance has scholarships. And to pursue a degree in other countries as well, they finance everything. So, and even your very university, UCC, UTech, UE, they have scholarships as well for students. I remember one of the bursaries that I got was actually from UE. It was a half bursary, and as I said, I got it through UE for med school because my tuition was extremely expensive. You have corporate companies that offer scholarships. Everybody know about NCB Foundation, JPSA Scholarship, GraceKennedy, Digital, Sagicor, and as I mentioned, government agencies, JAMVAT, MOE, bursaries, Ministry of Finance, they all have scholarships. And then you have international scholarships like from the Commonwealth, Chevening. Try to apply early and get into those scholarships. Now, my next category of tips would be social life and balance. So university is not all about books and studying and all that. You definitely have to go to enjoy yourself and network. Here was what works for me while going to either universities. So choose your friends wisely. Your friends can influence your habits. When you choose persons who are focused, persons who know what they want or want the same things as you, that would be helpful because it's not every time you're going to get up motivated to do everything. So you want persons to be there in your corner to help you up whenever there is no motivation. You don't want to have persons around you who want to go to party all the time. That will ruin your GPA. You have to choose your friends wisely. All right, so you have to have a stress outlet, and social life has a lot to do with that. As I said, social life is not necessarily only about partying. You can do things that help you to clear your mind or help you to de-stress. One of the things I did was I like to journal and I like to do self-care days. So I'll just dress up, put on my clothes, and I'll go to the movies or by myself or with friends, or I'll go to the gym. You have to enjoy yourself responsibly. The next tip that I have is about networking and socializing. One thing we have to realize as students is that your classmates could be your future business partner or references. And some of the people I casually connected with at university are people that I now work with professionally. And don't underestimate those connections. One of the persons I met brought me one of my largest orders to date from a corporate company through my connection with that person in university. Now, last but not least, the final category of tips that I have would be study habits and productivity hacks. Now, this section is huge because I'll go to university to study and to get the degree. That's the main purpose of it. So if you're a visual learner like myself, I usually color code my notes as you saw there. What I try to do sometimes is to create mind maps, or I'll study or read and then I try to rewrite the things because I remember that I wrote it here, or this is how I did it, or how I drew it there. So if you're a visual learner, that can help you. You can utilize apps like Canva or Notion that can give you simple infographic or to help you to create flowcharts or diagrams or tables as a visual learner. You can also watch YouTube explainer videos. Even though we're going to real university, we have YouTube University. So this is some way that can help you to learn things differently from what you learn in a lecture, or maybe coincide with what you are learning in your lectures. If you're an auditory learner, you can record your lectures, and while you walk into class or whatever, you can replay them. Another thing too, you can read your notes out aloud, and if you're hearing them, maybe it will help it to stick. Another one for audible learners would be to create mnemonics, rhymes, or songs. This will sometimes help you to learn concepts, to remember definition, major terms, and stuff like that. If you're a kinetic learner, you can use flashcards. You can try to put the word at the back and then the definition on the other side to help you to memorize things. I sometimes do that as a visual learner as well. Writing the things down on the flashcard also helps. So now applying concepts practically. For example, in marketing, there are particular theories and stuff like that. I'll try to relate them back to companies in real life that do marketing campaigns. The next thing, as I said, past papers are king. Those will help you to get a grasp of how the questions will be asked of you and how you can go about answering the questions. The more past papers you do, the more you'll understand how the concept is being asked of you, how, if there are any curveballs, you'll know how to navigate them in the actual exam. Another study tip I can add is study in short bursts, or what you call a Pomodoro technique. How this works is you set a particular time frame to study, and then you set a time frame for breaks. Probably study or do something productive, full focus mode for 30 minutes, and then you take a 5-minute break. Whether you use that 5 minutes to take a walk, or you try to get a snack or something just to kind of process what you just did, just to kind of stretch your legs a bit. Another thing that I should say is you need to recognize which time you are more productive. I am not a morning person, and I feel like I get my burst of energy in the night. So I try to do more load-bearing things, whether it be studying or reviewing in the night, and then probably in the afternoon or when I get up, I'll probably try to do some group assignments or some research or something. And also, as about selecting the times that's best for you, I know some universities you get to choose your courses and choose the time that you want to attend a particular class. Why you go choose all your class them in the morning and you know that you're not a morning person? Choose the night classes or choose the evening classes, because you will miss all your class. You will not go to any class. And the first tip I gave you was to ensure that you go to your classes, because you spend less time studying and reviewing when you catch the concept from class. You don't have to do all that work. Another tip, this doesn't fall into any other categories, right? When you're in university, you have all the freedom in the world. Do not be misguided by this freedom. You know, in high school, you would have your principal or a senior teacher that can say, oh, why are you not in class? So why are you at the bathroom? Why are you here? Why are you there? Nobody cares about you in university. You are on your own. And the freedom might feel nice until when you get an F on an exam. Try to ensure that you balance it all, and you have to be responsible for yourself. You know, you're basically a pre-adult at this point in time. So when you start work, you're going to have to think about, you know, paying your bills, ensuring this is done on time, that is done on time. So it's preparing you for life. So this newfound freedom, do not take it for granted. So that is how I went from med school dropout to Summa Cum Laude graduate. The biggest lessons I learned were handle your admin smartly. So keep your receipts, keep proof and track of everything. Be consistent with your academics so you can keep up your GPA to apply for scholarships and just to have a good GPA when you're graduating. Get involved in things outside of academics and class and build your network. Also, study smart and try to enjoy your university experience. These are just tips that can help you to navigate as best as possible your university journey. If this video helped you, please don't forget to like and share it with another student or somebody who you think could benefit from these tips. And subscribe so you don't miss the next vlog or video that I may post. And before you go, let me know in the comments which tip you are going to be trying this semester. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.
I don't need like to get it poppin', but these bitches in my business call me out, you're choosing violence. If you see me out in public